Hello everyone, this is our project Transli, an AI-based live translation system. The main idea behind this project was to build something more flexible than a normal translator. Instead of supporting only one translation mode, our system brings multiple translation features together in one platform. So overall, the goal of this project is to make translation more practical and flexible by bringing different translation pipelines into one system. Before moving to the features, let me briefly explain the model setup used in this project. For speech to text, we use ElevenLabs in the cloud pipeline and Whisper in the local pipeline. For translation, the system uses Gemini as the cloud model and Meta NLLB as the local model. For text to speech, we use ElevenLabs and Google TTS in the cloud pipeline and Piper in the local pipeline. This setup gives the project the flexibility to support both high quality cloud processing and faster local execution. Overall, the system follows a simple pipeline: input, processing, translation, text to speech, and output. Now, based on the use case, we can also choose different model combinations. If the goal is to get better overall audio quality, the recommended combination is ElevenLabs, Gemini, and ElevenLabs. And if the goal is to get a faster response, we can use Whisper, Meta NLLB, and Piper. But in this case, the trade-off is that the overall output quality may be lower compared to the cloud-based setup. Now let's move to Quick Translate, our first and core feature of the project. Here the user can either give input through speech or simply type the text manually. In both cases, the system translates the input into the selected target language and also generates speech output. For this demo, I am using the local pipeline for faster response, with Whisper for speech to text, Meta NLLB for translation, and Piper for text to speech. Here the source language is English and the target language is Hindi. So when I speak a sentence like, "Good morning, how are you?"
सुप्रभात, आप कैसे हैं?
The system quickly processes it and gives the translated output in Hindi. Since we are using the local pipeline here, the response is very fast. As you can see on the screen, the output is generated in around 0.41 seconds. If I switch to type mode, I can type the text manually, click translate,
सुप्रभात, आप कैसे हैं?
and get the result in the same way. Another useful feature here is support for multiple target languages, which means the same input can be translated into more than one language at once. In this case, we have selected two target languages, Hindi and Bengali.
सुप्रभात, आप कैसे हैं?
So you can see here it is translated in both languages. Now let's look at the auto detect feature. In our project, this feature works when the translation model is set to Gemini. So for this part, I switch from the local setup to the cloud-based pipeline. Here you can see that the models have now been changed to the cloud setup with auto detect enabled. I can again say something like, "Kem cho, maja ma?"
कैसे हो? मजे में? Hello,
And the system will automatically detect the input language and generate the output in the selected target language. In this case, the response takes around 6.36 seconds, which is slower than the local pipeline, but the audio quality is significantly better. Now let's move to the next important feature, which is live conversation. This is not something completely new. It is basically an extension of the speech mode in Quick Translate. The main difference is that instead of only one speaker, here we have two speakers interacting with each other. Each speaker can speak in the language they are comfortable with, and the system translates the conversation for both sides accordingly. For example, here speaker 1 is set to Hindi and speaker 2 is set to English. So when speaker 1 speaks in Hindi, the system translates it to English, and when speaker 2 replies in English, it translates it back to Hindi. So this makes the conversation much more natural because both users can continue speaking in their own language while the system handles the translation in between. At the same time, the full conversation is also stored in transcript form, and we have included a summary option to generate a quick overview of the conversation. Now the next feature is file and visual translation. In the document section, we can upload files such as TXT, PDF, and docs. Once we click translate, the system extracts the text from the file, translates it from the source language to the target language, and then gives us both the translated output and the audio output. In the audio section, we can upload an audio file and click translate.
नमस्कार, यह अनुवाद प्रणाली का एक परीक्षण है।
The system converts the audio into text, generates the transcript, translates it into the target language, and then gives the output along with audio. We can also use the auto detect feature here, so the system directly detects the language of the uploaded audio file. And in the image section, we upload an image and click translate. Here the system uses OCR to extract the text from the image, translates from the source language to the target language, and then gives the output along with the audio. Now let's take a look at the history section. Here we can see the translations that we have already performed in the system. The history is shown clearly, and for each entry we can also see the models that were used during the translation. Along with that, we also have the option to export the history into the text file or in JSON format, which makes it useful for saving and reviewing the translated content later. So overall, Transli is not just a basic translator, it is a complete translation platform that combines different translation pipelines into one system. So yeah, that was the overview of our project. Thank you for watching.